Hey, this is Anthony. In this podcast, I am going to discuss how I come up with my stories. Some are dreams, some are things that popped into my head, or a picture, or whatever the case may be. These are things that create the stories I've written. Okay, the first one will be Don't Go Man High. That one was a dream, and it was about actually not necessarily like an exact past memory of mine, but it was what happened to me when I was trying out for the basketball team when I was in middle school. And we have to. I'm not sure what happened. If we did the whole thing. If we practice first or practice after, but what happens is I guess we were all in the locker room, and basically they tell us to take our shirts off so they could see any lumps and stuff like that. And for me, I was shy. I'm not sure because if I was a little heavy, or just because I felt uncomfortable, shirtless around other people. But when I dreamt, that's what I dreamt. I dreamt I was back in that day, back when that happened, and if you read the story, it says she's the same thing until a certain point. It's obviously not the exact same way as it happened, because it's fiction, but me going in the locker room as they tell us to remove our shirt to see if we got any lumps. In that case, in the book, it's more or less of it's the same thing, but in my dream, that happens. I'm looking around, I'm embarrassed, and because I'm heavy, I'm fat in the dream. I'm not sure I was heavy or fat. I think I might be a little bit heavy, but I'm not sure I was fat. And then so the coaches in the dream would say, "All right, we're gonna take you to the office, whatever." And so in the dream, okay, I'm not going to keep saying in the dream, since I guess you have that. The only time I will differentiate the two is when honestly after that memory where I was actually in the gym in middle school, doing what we were asked to do. Other than that, pretty much that's as far as the gym went, as the memory went, that replicate in the gym. After that, and some guy comes, when the other kids come in, but they only came in because they saw opportunity, maybe because they felt it was gay, or whatever the case may be in the reasoning for my dream. I did it again, but that's why that other person came in. As he sat down and as I'm walking around, pacing around, because even at that, no matter what, I was going to have to remove my shirt to show my body so that if they see any lumps or anything like that they will be able to see it. The other kid who entered, and he just took a seat, he sat down, and he knocked some papers over, and I picked it up because, even I thought it was in the book, or I thought it was a kind thing, but in my head, in my dream, that's the same thing I was thinking. So I think it was it was kind to do, since the coaches were kind enough to put me in a place where I didn't feel embarrassed when the time came when they decided to check me. But as it goes, when I picked it up, I see alien bodies. It was hybrids. They looked like hybrids, but they had the resemblance of kids of whatever. So then when they came in, there was like, oh snap, they're gonna weak off. They're gonna hybridize us, I guess. If that's not a word, but you get what I'm trying to say. And so we ran off, and that's where the dream stopped, and until it came back where I'm walking with that guy to the locker room, and we found an open wall. We went into it, and we see the what we saw in the folder of pictures, and I think that's one of the stories that came from a dream. The other one would be Sunny Day from Snippets, which has 6 short stories, really short stories. But that one is just basically, if you read that, that's basically how the story, the dream went from beginning to end. That's how the dream went. There is no, because in Document High, there's like more story between when we decided to run from the office, and then when we decided to come back, there's more story between that and after. Whereas Sunny Day is basically from beginning to end how the dream went. Not a dream. No. Planet Eden is a dream too, but it was short, and basically the dream was. I'm not sure exactly how it went, but no, the story. But the dream was 2 people talking. Hey, we need to expand from this, and he's like, okay, get these 2 other people to go. What you do? Find our area to, start colonizing, and so that's what happened in the dream, where I'm walking with these 2 other people to find another area that we could, expand our colony or whatever. And as they did, they found something that was not natural, and it looked like more intelligent made, and they walked towards it, and as soon as we walked towards it and we were entering inside, that's where the dream stopped. And well, if you read Planet Eden, there's he necessarily didn't want to. I guess the main character didn't want to go. They did. Or either way, there's this same thing. The only difference is the whole narrative from that is from. It's just there's that's the dream, and from Planet Eden, and that's the dream from Planet Eden. Dolly. That one was supposed to. That one was supposed to be a video that I was gonna make with my sisters, but it's one of those things where they were not at the idea. They're like, oh cool, we're gonna make a little video, but then it was like, nah. There's like, if you watch in the book, there's a part where there's a knife and stuff like that, and we try to do. When we were trying to do that part, my sister was having difficult doing that because it was a real knife, and we were dropping it, and she got so overwhelmed, and so we got so. I think at some point we did it, but at some point it was like, no, we can't do this anymore because you're having trouble with this because it's just scaring her. So at some point it was like. I was like, I can no longer deal with them. So I was like, put it to. I didn't think nothing of it. I was not going to make it to a story. I was like, whatever. Maybe later on I couldn't be able to make a story out of it. But then that's when I decided to make a actual story instead of a video. Dolly, I got Planet Eden, Document High, East Ridge Dig Site was not necessarily a dream, but the location is where me and my somebody I used to know, he would go to his job was out on the outskirts of Vegas by the mountains, and he had to patrol the area, and that's what we did. I would help him, not necessarily patrol. I would just be there just to Well, actually, I wasn't supposed to be there. I would hide in the car, the back, lay on the floor, and that's how we would go about our days. And sometimes we would go outside, like go to Starbucks and chill out there. And but that's where that story came from. Not necessarily whatever, just more of the area in the place. That's where East Ridge Dig Site came from. Sunny Day, East Ridge, Document High, Dinosaurs in Space. That one, came from a meme. Oh, and okay, I got another one too. That one came from a meme. That one was it was making fun of flat earthers. No, that's not that. That's Eon. No, that's Eon. Eon. Okay, there was a meme from I saw on the internet. Basically, there's like, oh, this is how you explain how the dinosaurs became extinct to flat earthers, which was the flat Earth. One image was a flat Earth, and the second image was dinosaurs, and the third image was dinosaurs seeing the asteroids coming, falling down. And the fourth image is the asteroid hits the flat Earth, which is like like spinning, like a dish if you drop it and it's wobbling, and the dinosaurs flying out in outer space. My thought was, it was funny and recall, but I was like, I find it funny, but also I was like, that's mean. And how can I come up with a story that would not validate, but yeah, something like that to flat earthers, or at least give them a story of like, oh, that there's not, there's somebody's not just making fun of ideas of how we see our reality, which I don't believe, but just don't be as for me, we wouldn't be as taking shots at people like this. Granted, should you condone that? No, but at the same time, is it? I don't know. That's more or less of a. Is it wrong to let somebody continue to believe something wrong, act scientifically wrong, and whatever? So that's where Eon came from. My intentions was to make a story that gives flat earthers something to say. Hey, he's coming close to. You could use as scientific, but as logical sense of how this could be a possible thing, flat Earth. But as I was writing it, as I continued to write, it started to be more or less of a relationship between machine and humans, and that's where that's where it instead of being about flat Earth, it became something different. But I guess that's it. But that's what this podcast will be. Lost in Memory. It will be about either going in depth about a story I made and talking about the thought process of those certain things, or just the book itself, or whatever the case may be. But it's going in depth with that, and like movies or TV series, or it's the same theory. Looking at that, like there's like this movie which I'm going to do another an episode of that of movies that I felt could have went a different direction, the same direction they went, or they had a direction they could have went, but they didn't, and decided to go the safer route. And it will be the same thing as that. And at some point, I'm gonna probably make a little series where you go listen to in like an audiobook, but you listen to it and you'll follow that. So this is what this podcast will be. It will be talking about stories, and either going in depth with my stories, or how stories are conceived, or talk about movies and how those stories could have been possibly go, and stuff like that. But this is the first one will be about my stories and how I came up with the stories I came up with. Alright. Thank you.